Good evening, board gamers. This is Mike from Private Pook Games. I'm here to talk about Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape, which has been out for quite a while. So why would I talk about it today? Well, as of right now, when I'm filming this video, we're about 17 hours away, I believe, from CMON's new campaign for the new standalone for Massive Darkness. It looks like it's going to be a great entry point for anyone who wants to try it for the first time, and it's also going to be a nice way to add some variety to the game if you already play it and already enjoy it. So this is an old one, and I'm coming from the unique perspective of I had never actually played it until about a week ago when I finally picked it up on sale from my local game store, Grandmaster Games. Thank you so much, guys. They had it on sale, so I figured let's pick it up and let's see, because if I'm going to get into this game, I'd like to find out now when the campaign's about to go live. So I picked this one up. I tend to be a really big fan of sort of crunchy, brainy dungeon crawlers. This one is certainly known for having its fair share of complexity, but, the tactical stuff in it, the stuff that I usually really like, is a little bit lighter. It's more of a, humongous treasures. There's just cards. Oh, so many cards. So many loot cards, so much stuff you can collect, which is very cool. It's one of its big strengths we'll talk about. That's more what this one goes with, and it works really well for it, but I really wanted to, just look at this again, sort of re-explore it, but re-explore it for the first time, I suppose, and talk about what I thought, and hopefully that will help you decide if you want to pledge for this new one. So, me personally, Massive Darkness 2. I played it a good number of times since I got it about a week ago. Right away, I can tell you that some of the things that stuck out to me right away is it is kind of nice to actually get a tray. You don't have to 3D print with it. It tracks the experience very well. This is a game that really focuses on killing enemies, getting experience, powering yourself up, leveling up, getting one of these, humongous amounts of loot. If there's any weakness to the loot system, it's that you are given so much of it that it's almost like, wow, what do I do with all this loot? But then here's the cool thing. You can do things with that loot. For instance, if you have 3 common treasures, you can trade them in and get better loot if you find I was going to say blacksmith, but it's actually a token that represents, whatever, the word's not coming to me. But, so there's a lot of things like that, and for those who've reviewed this game more significantly than me, they'll talk about that. So I went into this really feeling like it's going to be kind of, a little more boring, a little more light. It's certainly not light. It's lighter than some of the other games I have that I love. Sword and Sorcery is one of my favorite dungeon crawlers. I really love Oathsworn as sort of a boss battler. I've just recently got into Kingdom Death Monster. These are definitely games that offer more tactical strategy, definitely a little more complexity and crunchy stuff. Some people would think some of that, like for instance, Sword and Sorcery is an incredibly fiddly game. I personally like the fiddliness, but everything that people have complained about with the fiddliness in that game is 100% accurate. I happen to like it. I don't blame people who don't like it. So this is a really good middle ground for that. This is a good game if you're going to invite some friends over and you just want to roll some dice and kill some monsters. It's pretty good, but it also has lots of cool things. Like, for instance, I was playing as the Rogue the other day. That's a bag builder. I've been taking a break from Isofarian Guards, so that was really cool to see another spin on bag building. Is it as complicated? No. Is it fun if I just feel like playing a game after I put my son to bed? Yes, it does work really well. Having an arrow card deck for the ranger, very, very, very cool. Having a spell wheel for your wizard, just really cool ideas. Do they all come together in a game that sometimes feels a little thin? Yes. If you already have way too many minis, do you need all of these minis? Here's one tray. Here's another tray. Oh my god, here's yet another tray, and then I still have minis all over the table. Like, this is a lot of stuff, and if you're a painter, that's awesome. If you're not a painter, you better get used to having a lot of gray on your table. I'm somewhere in between. So this is something that some people don't like. If you don't mind it, then hey, these are really good quality minis. I'm assuming the ones in the new campaign are going to be pretty cool. Most importantly, though, this is all stuff mostly I know other reviewers have talked about. Why am I talking about it now? Because coming at this game as someone who generally likes games that are more complicated than this, I did find myself really enjoying it. Does this mean that I'm going to pledge for the new campaign in, I don't know, 17, 16 hours from now? 80% sure. 80% sure. It is a game that I am enjoying. It's really fun to break it out and just run through the motions. It's nice to be able to play a one-shot and have the one-shot actually work. A lot of times for dungeon crawlers to really feel satisfying, like your character's growing, it needs to be a longer campaign. You certainly have that. I even have this here. I haven't even busted into it yet. The Heavenfall expansion. But you don't have to have it to have a satisfying experience. That's something kind of unique that I probably am kind of missing from my game collection. Yes, I have Mage Knight and I have other things like that that represent, complicated games that have one-shots where you get to go from zero to hero. But this one does do it in a way that I think is accessible. And there's a lot of that that's really good. And if you don't like CMON for, reasons, there's lots of reasons to like or hate them. This is not going to change your mind, obviously. I don't think the new one is going to change anything so much. It does look like they're going to have 6 new heroes, and if there's one thing I've really enjoyed about this game, that if this wasn't the case, I probably would have quit on it, is that each of the Lightbringers, each of the heroes, players you can play, feel very different. And I will say that alone makes me think I'm going to keep this game, and if I do pledge for the new one, the new heroes, the new Lightbringers are probably the reason why. Yes, I could use some new monsters, because the monsters do get repetitive if you just have the base game, but I think the different heroes just really change this. They really elevate this from being a simple sort of mindless dungeon crawler to being something I actually have fun with. It elevates it a little bit above Dice Chucker. If you like a Dice Chucker, you'll definitely like this one, but I would say this one, if Dice Chuckers were right here, and Sword and Sorcery was right here, and Mage Knight was up here in complexity, this one would be maybe like, right there. Take that however you'd like. If this isn't a useful take for you, then go find someone else's take, enjoy it, it's fine, or don't pledge for the game. But those are my thoughts on it as someone who really enjoys dungeon crawlers. I think I'm going to try and give it one more play this week. I don't think I'm going to pledge on day one. But I am going to decide in the next few days, do I want to go for it? And I think I'm about 80% there. I'm not going to give this one a numerical score. This game's been out too long. Plenty of other people have done that. This is just reflecting on this game after a good number of years and saying, do I want more of this? Do I want it to take it another way? And the last thing I'm going to mention about the new campaign that might be appealing to some, if Hellscape, thematically, does not work for you for a variety of reasons. You just don't like it. You don't like that imagery. The new one is going to be more just standard fantasy. That could be a strength or a detriment depending on who you are. But please note that's what the game's going to be thematically, and I could see that selling a lot of people one way or another. Thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe, all that other stuff I hate to say at the end, and, happy dungeon crawling.